Welcome to this video. We will show you how to create a new player account, then disable and enable it, using the Online Player Accounts and Player Pages Services API. To help you, we have created a standalone Solar 2D module containing functions that call the services API methods. If you do not use the Lua programming language, don't worry, as this video can still be of great use because all our API methods are called using simple HTTPS POST requests. And if your programming language supports this standard, then it should be fairly easy for you to follow what we are doing. First, let's download the Solar 2D module. It's a zip archive file called Online Player Accounts Call Methods. Subscribers to the Online Player Accounts and Player Pages service can find the download file on the Support Downloads page. Simply click the file to download it to your browser's default download folder. Once downloaded, copy the zip archive file into your projects folder and unzip it. This will create the Online Player Accounts Call Methods project folder. Next, we will open Microsoft's Visual Studio Code application. This is a free IDE you can download from Microsoft's website. In VS Code, we have opened the Online Player Accounts Call Methods project folder. The standalone module file we will be working with is called main.lua. Open it. To make a call to any services API methods, you must submit the request with a valid API key. When you subscribe to the service, two keys are generated, a live key and a developer key. We strongly suggest you use a developer key at this point, as calls to a developer key are not recorded against your monthly API call usage. We need to replace this placeholder string with a working API key. We will switch to the Game Studio website and make a copy of the Online Player Accounts and Player Pages developer key, then paste it over this dummy string and save the file change. Now in the Corona simulator, we can open this project and see in its output window what happens when it runs the main.lua module. Notice there is an error about a missing image file. This file is used to show how to upload a profile image for the player account. This is outside the scope of this video and this error can be ignored. Before we start making amendments to the main.lua file, let us quickly review some of the sources we can call upon to help us use this service's API methods. On the Game Studio site, on the Services Details page, we can find lists of the API methods we can call and also the errors and warnings that the service can generate. There is also a set of implementation notes for several languages. All the notes are the same except for the code examples and any additional steps that may require to set up a particular language to make calls to a method. For this video, we will look at the Solar 2D Lua implementation notes. Each API method call has its own section. You can either click on its hyperlink in the API index at the top of the page, or scroll to it. Each section is laid out in the same way. First, we list the request parameters for the method. Then provide a method request code snippet. Next, we show an example response to that request. And finally, what fields could make up that response. If we turn back to the VS Code application, we can review the Create New Player Account method in the main.lua file. The Lua network library provides the request method we use to make the POST request. We supply the URL to the API method, set the request type to POST, supply the parameter array that is defined above it, and the name of the listening function that's triggered when a response is received, or a network timeout occurs. Looking at the listening function, it is passed the event object that contains the result of the request. An if-then-else statement checks the event object's error property and writes out a suitable message to the Corona simulator's output window. Let's create a new player account. The developer account that is subscribed to the service already has 3 open developer player accounts. When we attempt to create a 4th developer account, the service will respond with an error stating that only 3 developer accounts can be open at any one time. We will resolve this through the Games Studio website by closing one of the existing player accounts. Then, we will execute the create method again, and this time it will complete successfully, with no errors reported, and provide the new player account's ID. First, we will change the default player name variable. When the Corona simulator processes the main.lua file, it executes the first function it finds. To control which function the simulator runs, we unremark only the line that calls the create player account function. Let's launch the project. There, the response from the method call gives the error. Too many developer player accounts. We will now close one of the 3 existing accounts so that we can create a new one. Now there are only 2 open developer accounts. The API request has now completed successfully, and a new player account has been created, and in the response is the new player account's unique ID. Let's quickly switch back to the Games Studio site and search again for all the developer player accounts. And there is our new player account we created using the service's API method. Now that we have a player account's ID, we can manipulate the account through the API. For example, we can switch the status of the account to disabled. This will stop the player from being able to log in. Using the same ID, we can then re-enable the player account, allowing the player to log in again. Back in the main.lua file, we will remark out the create player account method. We don't want the simulator running that again. We can copy the new ID into a module variable so it is accessible by all the methods. Now we can unremark the disable player account method, save the change and relaunch the project in the simulator. The response contains no error messages. That means the request was completed successfully. If we swap back to the Games Studio website, we can refresh the new player account's details page and see its status change from enabled to disabled. Now let's enable it. This time, we want to remark out the disable method, and unremark the enable method. Save the changes and again relaunch the simulator. Now the simulator executes the enable method. And again, the response contains no errors, meaning the request was completed successfully. We can check the status change by calling another API method. But for briefness, we will instead switch back to the Game Studio website and refresh the player account's details screen. There, the account status has been set back to enabled. We hope you have enjoyed this video and can see how easy it is to create and manipulate a player account using the API. When you sign up for the player account and player pages service, you can use it for free to explore the API, while using the developer-only accounts, in conjunction with a developer API key. Only after you create a live account, or make a call using a live API key, will the service's subscription become active. Thank you for watching this video.